Well, good morning. The time being 10 a.m, I declare open the general meeting for the Gladstone Regional Council for Tuesday the 16th of June 2026 and welcome everyone here to Ambrose, to the Community Hall. A special welcome to our students from Ambrose State School and their teachers and any parents and caregivers that might be in the room with us as well. Thank you, councillors. The first item on the agenda is apologies. We have received an apology from Councillor Wagner and Councillor Holzheimer. Can I have a motion that those be received? Thank you, Councillor Cameron and Councillor McClintock. All in favour? Motion is carried. Do we have any messages of condolence, councillors? No messages of condolence. I'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is prior notifications of conflicts of interest.
No.
Shelley?
Questions?
Any councillors would like to raise now? Fantastic. We'll move to the next item, which is the Mayor's statement on current issues. And of course, the big event in the Gladstone region for the last few weeks was EcoFest at the Tondoon Botanic Gardens, happening on the 7th of June, which also celebrates World Environment Day, which was climate action. And thousands of people would have turned up to the Tondoon Botanic Gardens for that huge event we have every year. On the 8th of June, we had a citizenship ceremony at the Gladstone Entertainment Convention Centre, where we welcomed 50 new citizens to make Australia their home, many who have lived here for many years. In fact, one resident from the Boyne Valley has probably been here for 40 years, so it's fantastic to see he'd made that decision to become an Australian citizen. Thank you, Councillor Cameron, for attending the Queensland Fire Medal presentation on the 10th of June, and to our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Muscat, and Councillor McClintock for attending the Lifestyle Church 20-year celebration on the weekend as well. I was hoping to get there, but I had my 4 nephews, and I can tell you they were a handful, and I'm sure that would have been too much for me to take to the Lifestyle Church on the weekend, but I'm sure it would have been an amazing event. And of course, just yesterday, we turned the dirt on the Boyne Tanam Aquatic Centre. A $15 million project from Council and a $15 million funding from the federal government has made that project a reality. And of course, as I did yesterday, I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in that, from councillors, previous councillors, current, federal members, state members, and of course, Catherine King and the federal government for their $15 million, and all the staff at the Gladstone Regional Council who helped make this project a reality as well. It's been something that's been planned for a lot of years for our community in Boyne Tanam. It didn't happen and wouldn't have happened without a contribution from the federal government. And that was a project we said we wanted to see for Boyne Tanam, but we needed to see other levels of government support that as well. And I know it was a big effort from our team as well at Council, so thank you so much for everything you did to make that project a reality as well. Up and coming, we have the apprenticeship and traineeship graduation ceremony. That's this Thursday on the 18th of June. Big one for everyone here is, of course, the Mount Larkham Show. That's this weekend, so I'm sure you're looking forward to getting out there and enjoying the Mount Larkham Show. Councillor Wagner will be opening that event for Gladstone Regional Council. We have the Abobo Community Forum on the 27th of June. And, of course, Luminous are back at the Tondoon Botanic Gardens this year for 4 days, from Thursday the 16th to Sunday the 19th of July. We'll also be celebrating 30 years of our sister city with Saiki as we prepare for the Mayor and delegation from Saiki to visit Gladstone later this year. And tickets will go on sale for Luminous very, very soon. And it's fantastic to be here, as I said, in Ambrose at the CWA Hall. And, of course, our team have funded, I think it was about $10,000, but through our community infrastructure program, community investment program, the funding of this new roof here at the hall. So fantastic to see the works are complete, and we're now able to be here in the hall and enjoy the council meeting with the students. I did notice that the stairs at the front need fixing, so we might get onto that as well. I'm sure the CWA ladies will be all over us for some support to get the front stairs working as well. We'll now move to the confirmation of the minutes, and G2.1 is a confirmation of the general meeting minutes for the 2nd of June.
Happy to move, Mayor Matt.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill and Councillor Patrick. All in favour? Motion is carried. We have no deputations this morning, councillors, so I'll move to the officers' report. And the first officers' report is G4.1. A very important report is the adoption of the 2026-2031 corporate plan. I'll hand over to the CEO, Lisa Dowling, and welcome Kim Markson, the Manager of Strategy and Improvement, to the table. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's a very exciting day and a very proud day to present to you the corporate plan for adoption. It's always an exciting time when we reset the vision and the direction. I'd like to thank all of the councillors for their contribution. This corporate plan is this current council's vision, and it's certainly given a lot of clarity to the organisation of what's important to you and what really matters, and also to thank our people who've been involved. The values in particular were really driven from our people from the bottom up, and it's a great way to bring together the different minds and hearts in our organisation to develop something I'm really proud of that's really practical and gives us a lot of direction on what we do next. And I'd also like to thank Kim for the work she did in leading this project, and I'd like to hand over to Kim to share the outcome of that with you before you adopt.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning, councillors. Good morning, community. It is my absolute pleasure to present Gladstone Regional Council's Corporate Plan, Our Vision 2026 to 2031 today. Over the past 12 months, this plan has been shaped around what matters most for our region and where we need to focus our efforts over the next 5 years. It sets the direction for council, guides our decision-making, and ensures the work we do every day contributes to the outcomes that our community values most. The plan reflects an honest position. We understand that there's always room for improvement, and this plan addresses those areas directly. It's not about doing more, though. Our vision reflects what we consistently hear from our community and from our people. They want us to deliver the basics well, be reliable, explain decisions clearly, and communicate in ways people can understand. And it sounds simple, but it requires discipline. We have balanced aspirations with reality. We must remain financially sustainable. We must focus on the areas that create the greatest value for community. We will face difficult decisions and trade-offs, and we need to be transparent about them. And while we cannot eliminate every risk, we must manage risk responsibly. Perhaps one of the most noticeable differences in the plan is that it's a one-page plan, and that's by design. The simplicity is intentional. It's a clear and confident statement of our direction. We've moved away from broad targets and towards practical clarity. Our vision is built around 4 clear ambitions: create a better everyday for our community, enable responsible growth for our economy, be practical environmental stewards, and build trust and confidence in our organisation. And these 4 ambitions provide a simple but powerful framework for how we will make decisions, allocate resources, and measure success over the next 5 years. Most importantly, our community should notice the difference. They should have a clearer understanding of what council does, what it doesn't do, and why. They should find it easier to understand the decisions we make and have greater confidence that we're focusing on the things that matter most. Over time, we want people to experience more reliable services, clearer communication, well-maintained public spaces and facilities, and a council that follows through on its commitments. These are the practical outcomes that will demonstrate whether this plan is succeeding. I too would like to acknowledge and thank councillors and the executive leadership team for their input, perspectives and expertise throughout the development of the plan. Their contributions have shaped a strategy together that reflects both community aspirations and organisational priorities. Our strategic direction was never about trying to be the biggest, most innovative or most ambitious council. Instead, it was about creating confidence. Confidence for our community that we have heard what matters, and confidence for our people that they have a clear and achievable path forward. So I'm proud to commend the corporate plan, Our Vision 2026 to 2031, for endorsement.
Thank you, Kim. I have questions, I believe, from Councillor McClintock and Councillor Churchill.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is a really exciting, and I think a lot of work went into getting that one page. It's often harder to make a simple document than it is to make a very complex, over-explained one. So appreciate that, and thank you for the enormous amount of work that has gone into that. I think you've captured a lot of the discussions that we've had around the table. I guess my question is more along the lines of that next step to this plan and how that actually looks as far as that integrates with the business. A really clear, high-level document is great, and it's a really good steering document. What does it look like from here as far as implementing that? I know we've discussed some tools and things like that, but perhaps a little bit more clarity around how that actually looks.
Yeah, so there are some supporting tools and documents for internal that will help us deliver on this plan. So your strategy has been really clear, your vision has been really clear. Now we need to translate that into action that will actually deliver on the measures. So one of the things that I think was really important to council through the development of this was that we have those measures of success and the signals along the way. So what we have to accompany the plan is what we're calling an implementation plan, and it's an internal document that really tells us the pieces of work that we think are turning the dial on those measures that we've identified throughout. It's an agile piece. We can't foresee everything in 5 years, but we have mapped out what we think the 5 years of work looks like. And we will review that regularly, and we will communicate those with community and with council as we go on the 5-year journey. It is a different way of working for us. It combines the whole organisation's work into one work plan instead of having several separate strategies and plans right across the business. It's bringing everything together into one. And it's also supported by some tools like our principles for making choices. So where we have said that we can do anything, but we can't do everything, these tools will help us collectively with council make the decisions about what the right things to do are at the right times to get the results that we've talked about through the corporate plan. That still feels a little bit theoretical at the moment, but the way that you will start to see that translated is in our annual operational plan. So that will come to you shortly with budget. So that will be the first year of activity that we are planning to actually do to deliver on the corporate plan. But it's also in the way that we tell the stories to our community. It's in the spirit of this corporate plan, it's been really transparent about what we are doing, what we're not doing, and how that's moving the dial for us right throughout. So historically, where we might have had particular reporting points and we say, we'll come and talk to you about it at these times, this is an ongoing conversation that we'll be having all the time.
Brilliant.
That answer your
Yeah,
question?
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really great. And I just thank you to Councillor Muscat and Councillor Churchill for representing us to the broader staff at the more recent delivery, I guess, to that organisational wide side of things. Can you just give me maybe even an insight into what that looked like and how, not so much how did the day go, but what was the reception of that, and does it make sense? Does it land? Different departments excited about this? Like, what does it look like for the organisation?
The plan is landing really well for our people, and I say that with confidence because we have been testing it with them for a while, and particularly on that day, it landed well with our team leaders, and they're the ones that are on the ground. They're really delivering the day-to-day and planning our work. So what they liked about it was that it gives them permission to be a bit disciplined and to focus on what really matters, and that's what the plan is telling us to do, deliver our core services really well. That landed extremely well with them. And as I said in my opening, what council are asking us to do is the same thing we're hearing from our people. So the alignment has been really clear. And they can actually see how they can use it to have that shared language right throughout the organisation, to have those conversations about what should we be prioritising over something else.
No, it's great. And I really appreciate it. I know some of those early conversations we had, I feel like have been really well captured through that process. And excited that how that will look into the organisation in the years ahead. I know this high-level document is very almost optimistic, and it's very forward-focused in many regards. But one of the big things that is a piece behind this is what are we not going to do, which is what you shared just there. And so getting greater clarity on what is it that we're actually focusing not only our energy and attention onto, but our ratepayers' money. And so it's a really, really exciting document. I think it's a really great step forward in the right direction to many of the conversations that, I know many of us have had with community. I think are aligned with many of this document here as well. So thank you very much. I'd like to foreshadow, but I'm happy to have a conversation about moving it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Churchill, then Councillor Patrick.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you, Mayor Matt. Well, Councillor McClintock's foreshadowing he wants to move the motion. I'm happy to second it. But appropriateness is that, thank you, Kim. And Councillor McClintock has made reference to a couple of key points, but I want to make a comment and then appropriately a question, is that I agree, it's visionary, it's aspirational, but at the same time it's inspirational as well. And now that we've got to that stage, and Councillor Muscat and I thank you for that, I'm pleased you referenced that, because we did get that opportunity to talk to the entire organisation, be it at a senior management level. And now our role appropriately is to make sure that we can get back into the community, our ratepayers. But I think also at the same time there's a reality check in amongst this as well, in trying to understand what the collective wisdom is. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd just like to make reference to that on page 6, where it says the plan has been shaped, and I know you made reference to it. It's been shaped through a significant program of engagement and collaboration involving the elected members, the executive leadership team, senior leadership team, and employees right across the organisation, right across the region, alongside feedback and insights gathered from the community. So an adjunct to where Councillor McClintock was coming from is that we now need to ensure that the messaging is into our communities and all of our residents and ratepayers, but also at the same time making sure that we can give them a sense of ownership. I think that's imperative. But I'll lead to the question now appropriately, which I suppose, and you made reference to it, Kim, that it's an agile document, but I suppose for my 23 years as an elected member in local government, what happens is at some stage you have a local government election, and in March 2028, this document is a 2026 to 2031. The young ones here collected here today, they'll be well and truly into teenage years by the time we get to the end of this corporate plan. Well, what happens is we have an election in March 2028, and the question that's been posed to me by a couple of residents is, how do we get the next council, be it the elected council in 2028, and we've been there before, some of us, is making sure that what all this hard work has been done to have it enshrined, not necessarily in legislation, but enshrined sufficiently enough to make sure that we continue on that journey to 2031, and we don't have to, especially with what we know is going to happen in the region with a whole range of things forthcoming, including the whole renewable energy field that's going to be occurring and our new planning scheme. So I'd love to know, and I'm sure those that will listen to this will be keenly interested to know, is making sure that vision and the deliverables are on track until 2031.
Yeah, sure. So as Councillor McClintock referred to, this has been developed over several months with a lot of engagement. So there's a lot that actually sits behind the one-pager, and we haven't lost all of that. So that will continue to inform, that strategic direction will continue to inform decisions that we make and things that we do. But we also supported it with things like our principles for making choices. And that was so that we can change the plan as we need to and make decisions along the way without changing the intent of the direction. And I think when things like potentially new councillors come in, as I said, this plan is a really confident statement of where we need to go, and it reflects what community is asking for us. So we bring them on that journey and we onboard them into the plan and how we got to this with all of that information that we used to get there as well. Difficult to challenge a plan that says deliver the basics well, deliver your core services well. And so I think this gives the organisation some real confidence that regardless of some of those changes that might happen, we're really clear on where we're going. And in turn, I would hope that would give any new council that confidence as well and feedback to that. As I say, there is a lot that sits behind this one-pager, and none of that has been lost. That's been captured the entire way. So we will use that to make sure that we're staying on track. And similar with the measures that we have talked about. So that was a learning from our previous corporate plan where we didn't have measures. We didn't say what would look like. We've been really clear on that with this. So we can continue to test and refine those, but we know exactly what we're aiming for at the end of the 5 years.
Okay, thank you for that. And just making sure it's sustainable, and those that are around the table who are successfully re-elected need to be mentors in that ownership, mentoring in that ownership as well. But thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill. Councillor Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. After reading the document and also being extensively involved with the document that's being presented today, I did write a little bit of a reflection, and I would like to share that with the community as an elected representative. But I do also have a question as well, so Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind. Today marks an important moment for the Gladstone Regional Council. The corporate plan before us is not just a document, it is an accumulation of months of listening, learning, challenging our thinking, and shaping a shared direction for the future of our Gladstone region. What stands out most in this plan is that it genuinely reflects the conversations we've had across the communities, the hopes, the frustrations, the aspirations, and the very real expectations people hold for our council are all woven throughout every part of this vision. This is not a plan written in isolation. It is grounded in the lived experiences of residents, businesses, industry, community, and our young people, and those who care deeply about the future of our region. The outcomes we have committed to are clear, purposeful, and forward-looking. They speak to the kind of region our community wants us to build, one that is livable, connected, sustainable, and full of opportunity. And importantly, they set the direction that is both ambitious and achievable, giving our Gladstone Region Council a strong foundation for decision-making over the next 5 years. I think one of the greatest strengths of this corporate plan is its simplicity. The language is accessible, the structure is clear, and the intent is easy to understand. Whether you're a resident, a business owner, a volunteer, a young person, or someone who has newly arrived in our region, this plan is written so that everyone can see themselves in it. That matters because the vision, it only becomes powerful when people can be connected to it. This clarity and simplicity are deliberate. They ensure that our community can follow the journey with us, not as observers, but as partners with us as we move forward with this plan, which will guide our priorities, our investments, and our conversations. It will help us stay accountable to the outcomes our community told us are most important. I want to acknowledge the significant work that has gone into bringing this vision to life. Our staff who shaped the framework, the community members who shared their insight, and to all my fellow councillors who have challenged, refined, and strengthened direction in this corporate plan. It has been a collective effort, and I believe this shows today. As we adopt this corporate plan or vision, we do so with a sense of pride, responsibility, and optimism. Our community deserves a clear path forward, and this plan provides exactly what that is. It invites everyone to walk alongside us as we continue building a region that is resilient, inclusive, and future-ready. This is our shared vision, our shared commitment, and our shared journey. But because we do have young people in the community here with us today, I did want to sort of emphasise and find out, and if you can explain to our young school shooters, how the Youth Council played a part in the corporate plan and the strategic planning behind all of that.
Absolutely. So the Youth Council got an opportunity to review the corporate plan and provide their feedback as well. So, and it was at a point where they still had time to influence the direction. So our councillors took that feedback on board as well when they were finalising the plan. And probably the thing that really stuck with me from the Youth Council's review was one piece of feedback that we got that said, in a world that feels really chaotic at the moment, it's really nice to have our local government feel really calm and confident and clear in where they're going. So as I said earlier, while it's not the most ambitious plan or aspirational plan, it's really inspirational for another reason, because we've been really clear in our role. And we're going to be really disciplined in how we deliver that. So great opportunity for the youth to influence a really important strategic piece for our council.
Thanks. So I hope you guys have all heard how you can actually help in a few years' time. Hopefully you can apply to be part of our youth council and how you can be actively involved in helping shape the place where you live and the place where you learn and the place where you enjoy life. So I think that's really important to highlight. Thanks, Carl.
Continue. Councillor, was that your question? Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Muscat.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Kim. It's very good to have this document come through. Obviously, every 5 years we do this exercise, and a few of our councillors have never done it before. And I remember coming through it at a time when I was kind of half through one of those ones. So a lot of the times it felt like, the direction we were going wasn't fully kind of something that reflected what I wanted. But that's part of what we do. So everyone's elected and we all represent our community. And our community don't always agree on the things that we do, but we have to come to some sort of medium or some sort of balancing act that we have, and we do it with our staff. And I wanted to acknowledge the intense conversations that we had to get to where we got. So it's not easy to agree and disagree a lot of the times, but I think we did something that we probably haven't done as well in the past, which is challenge each other and be honest about what we want and what we don't want. So thank you to those leaders in the business that told us what they thought, and thank you for taking our feedback as to what we think as well. So it's great. We'll love to see it. Hopefully you come back in another 12 months and tell us how we progressed against it. So maybe we can come back here to Ambrose and tell our young students how we, when we say something, we stick to it, and then we come back and tell you how we done it or didn't do it, because sometimes we got to change and be flexible, and not everything we say we're going to do can actually happen, but there's always reasons for it, and we would love to tell you why we did or didn't do something. So thank you. It's a very good day today. Thank you.
Further questions, councillors?
Just
Yes.
comment if I may, Mr.
Councillor
Mayor.
Cameron, yes.
Endorse everything that's been said here today, but what I like about this particular plan is very, very simple.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to read, because when you ask someone, what do you think of the corporate plan was, and that was asked me when I first came to council in 2020. And coming from the commerce world, I had no idea about what a corporate plan and an organisation like this is. So you envisage a corporate plan being a wacky, great big document like this that you've got to wade through, but it's not. So when you consider you've got a business that has $3.2 billion in assets, an operational plan and a budget of in excess of $350 million a year, and the whole guidance of that business is on one page. Very easy to read. Now, it doesn't matter what department you go to throughout the whole business, it's all relative. And it's simple to read. I think it's a brilliant document. It's magic.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Churchill would like to add, did you say?
Oh, no, I'll wait for everybody.
No, do that one.
Oh, okay. I'm pleased that you are, because I was actually going to reference yourself. As much as we can talk about so much that's going to happen, not only in the corporate plan, but also the vision and the operational plan, one of the standouts for me is getting back to that basics. And perhaps it's a reference to you, Mayor Matt, in your capacity as President of the LGAQ and President of the Australian Local Government Association. The simplicity that stand out for me is making sure that we understand what our role is in local government. And for our young ones to understand that there are two other tiers of government that have a responsibility outside of local government. We can't do everything, and we don't plan to do everything. We'd like to make it rain, and if that's rain outside, that we'll take the credit for it today. But we can't do everything in local government land. So I simply emphasise that the standout for us in local government is we are local, and we're connected to our local people, and we're easily accessible. And from an operational perspective is making sure that we get those easy things, the basic things, the simple things done, and done well. But perhaps for you, Mayor Matt, if you could explain where we sit, because there are two other tiers of government that unfortunately from time to time expect us to be able to do things that they should be doing and they should be funding, and our ratepayers shouldn't have to pay for it.
Absolutely. We'll be breaking shortly to take questions from the students, so I might be able to do that then rather than as part of this agenda item. Very cool. Yes, excellent. But before, I have a mover and a seconder, but I just would like to say a couple of things on our corporate plan. I love it too. Thank you, Kim. And I know it wasn't just you. You did have some help. Thank you to everyone over there who helped make this happen as well. For those who will be watching online, this is recorded. It's not live streamed, but it is recorded and will be up on Council's website sooner today. But also for everyone attending in the hall this morning, I think there's two things I want to mention. Firstly, our values, which are integrity, inclusion, impact. Integrity is we are open, honest and accountable. Inclusion, we actively build a safe, respectful and collaborative council. And impact, we deliver real outcomes that strengthen our community, and I think that's very, very important. And of course, I don't think anyone in the room will be surprised to hear me say, of the four ambitions, I'm very happy with the economy. Thank you to the team over there. And the first one is the most important for me in the economy section, is supporting local business and local industry so they feel supported to grow and create jobs. And that's so important to me as mayor, to make sure our economy grows. But with those other important parts of this corporate plan, the trust and confidence in the way we make those decisions, supporting our environment and making sure our community is first and foremost at the front of mind in all those decisions. I really am happy with this one page, or it's probably 2 page back and forward, but that's pretty good, as Councillor Cameron said, to get a vision and a corporate plan on something that's very easy to read, no matter what grade you're in, no matter where you were in the corporate world. I think everyone can understand where we're heading between now and 2026 and 2031. I have a mover in Councillor McClintock and a seconder in Councillor Churchill. Any further questions? I put the motion. All in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. I was hoping to get to the next item on the agenda while we had the students here, because it's about the East End Battery Storage Facility Community Benefit Agreement. Who is presenting that report is the Economic Development Manager, Christy Marks. Christy, I might get you to present your report so the students can hear it, and then I'll hold questions so that they can ask their questions, and then we can come back to vote on it. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, councillors, ELT, and importantly, our community members here today. This report is being presented on behalf of General Manager People and Strategy, Carly Quinn, and it relates to Council's consideration of a community benefit agreement for the proposed East End Battery Energy Storage System near Bracewell, being brought forward to you in accordance with the Queensland Government's Renewable Energy Planning Framework and Council's Renewable Energy Community Benefits Sharing Policy. The report has been prepared today by our Strategic Project Specialist, Erickson Noakes, who is here with me today, and reflects the work undertaken by the Economic Development team alongside other internal departments in negotiating this agreement on behalf of the Gladstone region. Community interest in renewable energy projects like these continues, and as councillors are aware, under the current legislative framework, proponents of large-scale renewable energy and battery storage projects are required to undertake a social impact assessment and enter into a community benefit agreement with council prior to lodging a development application with the State Assessment Referral Agency, or SARCA, within the Queensland Government. It is important to reiterate that council is not the assessment authority for these projects. Council's role is to negotiate on behalf of the community an agreement that ensures that should a project proceed, it delivers appropriate, enforceable and policy-aligned benefits to the region. In this instance, officers are satisfied that the agreement not only meets council's policy requirements in full, it also exceeds council's minimum policy expectations in the level of benefit being proposed to our community. Consistent with previous items, supporting the agreement enables the proponent to progress through to the state process and does not constitute approval of the project itself. I will take the report as read, and Erickson and I are available to respond to any questions from council.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Erickson. If it's straightforward, we might be able to move in second. If there's lots of questions, I'm happy to pause. Deputy Mayor?
Happy to. Yeah.
Yes, well, yeah, I'll take a mover. Mover to Deputy Mayor, second and Councillor Patrick. Now, councillors, questions? Yes, it's just the one question?
Maybe a simple one.
Okay, let's go. We might be able to do this. I just don't want to take it the time of the student.
Yeah, no.
So I don't want to
No, I'm happy to support the motion.
Okay, over to you,
I'm
Councillor.
happy to support the motion. I just would like to ask a particular question relevant to be it this one and be it whatever else might be happening with these renewables. I'd just like to get a greater understanding of where our planning scheme fits in trying to understand. Happy to support the motion here today for the purposes of a community benefit agreement, but I would really like to know where the planning scheme fits, or more so, where the renewable fits relevant to our planning scheme. Because I have heard unofficially and probably with no level of expertise that they can go anywhere that they wish to go if it's close to the infrastructure, the power line infrastructure, power link infrastructure, etc., etc. Well, I certainly wouldn't like to have one in my backyard or in my neighbour's residence. So I'd just like to understand, please, from a planning scheme perspective, in making sure this one and the next one and whatever may be after.
Thank you, Christine.
I'm sorry, that's not how it works. We all hold our properties, and then through the process that exists already in our legislation, we are able to take on opportunities to make sure that our family and our land provides for our future. This is an
Okay, I don't want to get in a debate about renewable energy projects, where they should and shouldn't go, but that's a fair question while we have students here, and I don't want to eat into their time. So what I'm going to do is pause, and then I'll ask Kimberly to answer that after the break. I'm sorry that you'll miss that because your questions are relevant. It's actually, we're talking about a community benefit agreement, not about where renewable energy projects go or don't go, because that's not what this item is, but I'm happy to answer that. And if you're still here, I'm happy to hear it, or you can watch it back later on live stream. So Kimberly, you can be prepared to answer that when we come back. Because it's not a question for the Economic Development Department, who are assessing a community benefit agreement. So what I'm going to do now is break. We'll take questions from our students, and then we do have a community forum after the council meeting today where we'll take questions from community as well. So thank you. We'll adjourn the meeting and we'll break and take time for our students. Okay, welcome back, councillors. Thank you, officers, and the few members of the gallery that are still here. And thank you, of course, to our students from Ambrose State School who are now headed back for first break. We'll continue with the agenda, and we're still on G4.2, which is the East End Battery Energy Storage System Community Benefit Agreement. And we had a question from Councillor Churchill, which I'll hand over to the General Manager of, I was going to say town planning, but it's not. Customer Experience, Kimberly. Thank you, Kimberly Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Churchill, in relation to the question, the approving body is the State Assessment Referral Agency, otherwise known as SARA. And I think the question was, can they apply to go anywhere? And in reality, the answer is yes, they can apply to put one of these facilities anywhere. However, there's a significant amount of hurdles that they have to jump through in order to get approval. They have to be able to prove that they've considered ecology, they've considered decommissioning, they've considered the traffic implications, they've considered bushfire implications, and that's not going to be very easy to prove if you're popping it in a next door neighbour's small, yard. So they are fit for certain spots and others not, and that's up to SARA to determine whether or not they can meet those obligations.
I'm reasonably satisfied with that response, but just come back to the motion now, relevant to the community benefit agreement, because the question relates to, and I've been reviewing this in relation to the change from they were regional energy zones, now they call them precincts, or they're calling them hubs, that change the names to confuse some of us, is more about the simple aspect of the benefit agreement that relates to the area. So for this purpose of the exercise, for this one, be it Ambrose, be it Bracewell, is understanding within our policy that the benefits can be attributed back to that footprint area as a result of that renewable energy project, please.
Thanks, Councillor. So as you're aware, there's two parts of our policy when it comes to those funding arrangements in Council's policy. One being very much a regional representation of pooled funding that comes through a certain amount per megawatt, depending on the renewable energy project. The other part, and the important part that you're referring to there, is around the community benefit sharing program that is proponent-led and designed to
support the social impact assessment mitigations that are reflected in a social impact assessment when those individual projects go through their community consultation, their community engagement, and their social impact assessment. So what is really important is the fact that that community benefit sharing program designed by the proponent truly support those local communities, in addition, of course, to the pooled funding that sits within the policy as well. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
Thanks, Bev.
No, I'm happy to accept that. I'm sure there's going to be other questions coming forward. Just want to make sure that our policy remains as watertight as it possibly can be. Okay.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Christy and Erickson, for explaining that once again, which is very clearly explaining our policy. So in relation to the policy, I wanted to just check with you if we probably need to bring it into review it a little bit. I know it's quite recently. I know.
Just did it.
I know, but I mean, there are a couple of things, and it is great. I think it's great. I think it's great. It's just that to maybe make it a bit more agile. I know there's a couple of details that might need to be updated in relation to some of the changes in legislation, and that's minor changes, but that at least the policy should reflect those. But also, if we might be able to consider just to delegate the authority to the CEO to approve those CBAs if they obviously align with the policy, which we do that in many other areas. And if they are outside the policy, obviously they need to come here. Or if we decide that we want to bring it in, then we can just do it in a per basis scenario. It's just that I think it might be the policy was new, and now we sort of well on our way to understanding what we're doing. And proponents understand also what the expectations are. So I think it will be beneficial to maybe review the delegations and also update those minor details.
Thank you, Deputy. We can definitely take that on notice and unpack that further.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Churchill.
No, I think Councillor Muscat raises the most pertinent point, because we don't want to have to go back and question and or check for the next one that comes through and the next one comes through. You know, we delegate so much to the CEO in getting them to understanding. That's why, appropriately, I'm not suggesting a review of the policy, just wanting to make sure that the policy fulfills the requirements of what our original intention was with the policy and to be driven by the policy. And we're happy to support a delegate, not today. I'm happy to have that to be considered, but I think that's the most pertinent point in our officers meeting with the proponents and toing and froing, and then we hear from the community, and then we're trying to determine or second guess if the policy is going to be not necessarily challenged or perhaps questioned, which it does from time to time. We do that with road rules, but just making sure that it fulfills what it's required to fulfil under the legislative requirements, because I also suspect that some of our own members of parliament of state government aren't fully aware of what the I suppose the implicit requirements are in relation to a community benefit agreement. And we're on a journey, and this will be second or third, and I've got no doubts as we are oversubscribed, there'll be more to become before us, or delegated to the CEO.
Okay. Any comments to that? No? Thank you. Obviously, if this comes back, I'd like to hear more about that first. I think we've just adopted a CBA, which we put in place, which they the proponents know is there, and they're now all going over and above, including this one, which is fantastic. I have had members of other levels of government say that ours is one of the best, as in you've done very well, and the fact that the proponents are going over and above show that they're actually interested in engaging with the community and supporting the local communities. And whether they're in the right place or the wrong place is a decision for the state government to determine, not for us, as we know. So I would have no issue deferring this to delegated authority to the CEO, provided it meets the bare minimum of what we have said our policy is to include. But I'd also need to know, is this something that can be delegated? I'm not sure it can, and I have to find that out. So I think it might require a council resolution, but we can find that out later. All right, I did already have a mover and a seconder in move Deputy Mayor, seconder Councillor Patrick. Did you have a...
No.
Councillor McClintock, question, sorry? Yes.
You're right. It's just
Sorry, you did bring you down.
That's okay. It's all good. I was just quickly on that as I obviously sit in the Resources and Energy something advisory committee, basically. But a big part of the conversation is the CBAs. Just as a little bit of, I guess, context, they're moving and shaking all the time. And so I'd be very hesitant probably to review anything or look at anything immediately. We probably want a good 12 months of evidence under our belt to have some of those conversations, I'd say. But I think that it's necessary to have those conversations as to where it's shifted and shaken. I would be reasonably confident in saying that where we are right now is working probably amongst the best in the state. And conversations with other LGAs is really about how do they be more like Gladstone, which is really, I guess, affirming in many regards. My chief concern around the delegation side of things, I do agree in many regards, but around, which is part of that group conversation that keeps coming up again and again, is the gap and the divide between community understanding and governmental understanding, and then local government versus state government understanding, and there's all these gaps. And so having, not necessarily in a general meeting or having to bring it here, but having some sort of framework that really clearly involves the community in that process, as far as even just updating along that way. Delegations can often sometimes just become by nature a little bit less seen, and so it makes that conversation a little bit harder to have. So yeah, exactly. So there's other ways of doing that, but definitely I'd say the biggest gap in CBAs at the moment is around that, they call it education, but essentially education piece as far as what they do and don't do. How does CBAs play into the bigger picture, which is also rates? These are rateable industries as well. And so this isn't the only way that we draw income for our community benefit, to be honest. The roads that we put our rates into are for a benefit to community. So it is a broader picture and a whole heap of moving pieces to it, but appreciate it.
Kimberly?
Yeah, we have some enhancements coming to our website soon around particularly the planning scheme, but we're launching a new product called Development Eye, which will give the region the opportunity to go in and look at anything that's happening in the region. And although we are not the approvers for this, we have adopted to put them in there so that people can click on there and read what's happening, where it's at, what stage it's at, and we can put in as many documents in there as we like, so the CBAs, things like that, we can pop those in there. So we're going to start trying to share that more frequently, and also with our bulletin that we do for development services, we will regularly update the community on CBAs as they get endorsed and direct them to the website for more information.
I was going to say, and having within that their clear pathways for how to be engaged in the process is really, really important. I love it. Great idea.
Thank you. Any further questions, councillors? No, it's moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Patrick. All in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Erickson. We'll move on to G 4.3, which is a monthly financial report for the period ending the 31st of May 2026, and I'll hand over to the Manager Accounting Service Specialist, Sarge. Thank you, Sarge. Welcome to the table. Everyone, hard questions today, please.
All right. Good morning, councillors. Good morning, community. I'm here this morning to present the monthly financial statements for May. I will take the report as read, but wanted to highlight some of the key changes between budget and the Q3 forecast, which is completed alongside the 26-27 budget. So period ended 31st May, we are 91.78% of the year have lapsed. We are forecasting year-end net operating result of 1.520 million. There's a slight favorable variance of 32K movement on budget, which was budgeted at 1.488 surplus. There's a few moving parts underneath the budget and the forecast. I'll highlight some of these. So some of the positives were the larger corp dividend that we were expecting, that we've already received actually. The other one is the federal assistance grant prepayment, which has gone from 50% to 80%. We're also having higher interest revenue, about $2 million, and we're also expecting some higher fees and charges. Some of the negatives, there was a bulk water purchase budget error. It's an error, not an overspend. We've also have increases in other employee benefits with a low vacancy rate and some new roles. We are anticipating a little bit of writing down of our WIP, about $2 million there. We've had some additional plant hire expenses, particularly in that water and sewer space. So that has brought some of those positives down. If we take a look at the year-to-date operating result, it looks a little bit concerning, but don't be alarmed. It shows a 18.3 million unfavorable variance, but this is to do with the second water consumption cycle. So from Jan to June, that we sort of accrue we bill in July, but we accrue back into June. We're also expecting that from 50% to 80% of that federal assistance grant to come in. So that revenue has not been recognized yet. It'll happen in the month of June. If I shift over to the capital expenditure, we're expecting to spend that forecast of $96.7 million. Something interesting that I picked up when comparing to last year, same time last year between May year to date and where we ended up for the 24-25 financial year, is we actually spent about $22 million. So I know past performance is not an indicator of what's going to happen in the future, but that gives us some level of comfort saying that we will reach that forecast. If you add 22 million to what's here to date for May, we will get to that 96.7. I'll finish off by rounding out some quick wins and maybe some flags. We have a healthy cash balance of 148.7 million and up to 5.25% we get on term deposits. Outstanding rates are slightly better than last year, 2.26 compared to 2.26% compared to 2.32. We do have an emerging risk returns in terms of the volatility that we've been seeing in the Middle East, with suppliers asking for escalations on, for example, fuel and materials. So up to year to date, we have approved variations from the contracts and procurement team for about 242K. But I think there's a paper that's going to be released at the end of June with some mitigations and some suggestions around how we can better manage that. The next round of sustainability ratios will be in the June report. And that concludes my update. Are there any questions?
Definitely is. I know Councillor McClintock has one. I do too. And I think we definitely touched on financial assistance grants, and I know we're getting 80%, and we haven't got it yet, but I've been assured by the federal government that we'll have it before the 30th of June, which will help that issue. But the finance costs from Queensland Treasury, can you talk me through why the anticipated budget's 872, but the already spent 1.008 in expenses there on the first page? You've got a red dot next to it as well. How's that work? It says finance costs, then finance costs Queensland Treasury Corporation as an expense. Last year was $1,072,000. This year already it's $1,008,000, but the forecast for the 30th of June is 872.
Is that the interest paid on loans? Is that
finance cost?
Yeah, that would be the interest that we pay on the loans. There's this accounting treatment that we're doing for where we are recognizing bank interest charges with the interest that we pay. It's a requirement that was told to us by QAO that we need to couple the two together when we're reporting it. So I don't think we're paying extra. It could just be a reporting variance.
And just because the amount that's already been allocated is more than what the forecast is.
Yeah, I might take that on notice and just dig a little bit deeper, get back to you.
Thank you. Councillor McClintock?
Could you say what's in page 18 there? If you go page 18 at the end.
I'm different. I'll have a look at that. Page 18 more. I'll go to Simon, then to Glenn.
I was just trying to find it here. While I'm finding that, really appreciate that budget position little snapshot there. That really creates a clear picture of some of those moving pieces of the puzzle really, really clearly. But I was looking at the list of... I thought I highlighted it, but it seems to have gone away. It was under other, under expenses. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where that's gone there and where that sits. It was sitting at 3.2, I think, but the budget was at 1.9, which is actually less than what we've already spent. So I'm assuming there's some sort of grants attached to that coming back under where it sits. It is on
Are you talking about other materials and services?
other. Yes, there it is. For some reason, my highlight has gone off it, but it's on page 20 or 25. The other line there just says year-to-date actual 3.2. The budget was 1.7, so it's well over budget. But then the forecast is that it'll only be at 1.9. So I'm assuming that there's some grants attached to that, and just a little bit of clarity, I guess, around what sits in other that would be in there.
You're talking about, sorry, I was on the P&L. You're talking about capital expenditure?
Yeah.
Yes. So this line item, so there's some grants attached to that, but everything that doesn't have a specific asset class, so sits in other. I can get you a list of what's particularly in there.
It's just a monthly snapshot. I was just curious as to, like, because obviously most of the grants are attached to projects, so particularly around capital, and so there seemed to be a lot of movement there in that there. I was just curious more than anything as to what's it.
I think majority of that variance shift is probably because when we forecast, we found places that we can shift to other classes from other. So when we budget, sometimes we don't know where something should sit. So that's where it's gone. But I can get you a list of what we assumed in that actual 1.9 million forecast there.
Yep, that'd be really appreciated. And just probably a point more than anything, just on the rates, repayments, for all the local reporting that's been done around our position. It's actually really, really positive, and we're ahead of where we have been in the last few years. So really, really great to see our community doing what they need to do, and also making sure that we're empowered to deliver the services that they've asked us to deliver. So more just an appreciation for those that are continuing to do it right, and that position is really, really healthy and strong. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill.
Question. Thank you. I've got two questions. Hopefully the answers, just find the first one. It's just probably further on from what Mayor Matt was talking about there before. It's trying to understand what the Australian government does with our financial assistance grants, other than increasing it as we would want them to, and that's been a strong advocacy for some time. But trying to understand, it used to be at 50-50, and now the prepayment was 80 compared to the budget at 50. I'm trying to understand. Why don't they just give us the 100%? Is there something wrong with the modelling, or why can't they be consistent every year from a process to local government?
Probably a question for Jim Chalmers, but I'll have a go. I've just presented. I don't think so.
Well,
I've just presented to the financial inquiry. The federal government have a financial sustainability inquiry for local government right now. I've already presented that inquiry as President of Local Government Queensland. I will be presenting again, this time in person. The last time was by Teams. Was by teleconference, which was difficult. I said to them they had to reschedule the last appointment because the bells were ringing because of the budget was just adopted, and they had to reschedule. They said, we're happy to do it by Teams. And I said, no, I'm coming to meet you and look you in the eye and tell you exactly why local government needs sustainable funding, and we need it to be predictable funding. The up and down between the prepayment is ridiculous. The fact that the amount that's come back to local government has actually dropped to 0.49% of Commonwealth taxation means we've gone backwards, because last year we got about 0.5%. 0.5%, so not much, 0.5%. We've been asking for 1% for years. We'll continue to argue for that. It's why 80%? Why not 50%? That's really a question for them. At a national level, we asked for 100%.
Absolutely.
And then we say that's really not brought forward. It really should just be forgiven. It's the wrong words, but should just be paid and then move on. But they keep calling it a bring forward. And the first time they brought it forward was during the global financial crisis, where councils invested that money back into local communities and stimulated the economy. And the next time they brought it forward was during COVID, because they asked councils to stimulate the economy, and we did that. And now they're saying, oh, actually, good luck and operate with what you got, and it's not enough. So, yeah, why they do what they do, we will never know. But that's what this inquiry is. So we're very grateful for the inquiry. We just need recommendations to come back. through the Parliament to actually increase financial support to councils.
Totally agree, but as long as the inquiry doesn't take another 5 years, because us in local government land trying to grapple with putting together a significant budget and trying to get an understanding of what the advance payment's going to be, whether it's going to be in a prepayment. Why don't they just get the modelling right and be consistent? Hopefully that'll come out of the inquiry, and thank you for your effort.
Member. Do I see a wish to run for the federal seat of Flint?
You do. Well, best wishes, Councillor Muscat. I've been there, Councillor Muscat, but best wishes. You get my support there. My second question, Sarge, please, which I'm sure that you'd probably have access to again, was the 13.5 million. I was trying to find it in the report, and I've highlighted the piece here, which was the as a result of the impact of the flooding. We came to 13.5 million, and then that was increased as a result of, I'm trying to choose my words here, a contingency, or as you made reference to there earlier, the increased requirement as a result of inflation, or the inflationary pressures that have come, and also the cost of living, and also the cost of fuel, etc., etc. Where did our 13.5 million from the Queensland Reconstruction Authority land? What do we know where we got to?
I don't know if that's a question for Sarge. He's an accountant. I might.
Okay, then no, I understand, but I want to ask the question.
Yes, you can, but I'll get the right general manager to
I'm sure Mark Francis or someone within the organisation would know. Is just trying to understand that we don't end up getting short-sheeted, that our residents or our ratepayers have to contribute to the recovery and the infrastructure repairs, in making sure that we've got where we've landed is money or is value for what has been assessed.
Yeah. So thanks for the question, Councillor. The 13.5 million is based on our inspections of the road network subsequent to the event, and then multiplied by unit rates, which is issued by QRA on an annual basis. We do have an agreement with QRA that should the supply chain or cost of doing the work increase, then that will be covered under our claims. So if the costs exceed the unit rates used to estimate the 13.5 million, that will be covered by QRA.
Oh, great. In its entirety.
Yes.
And so it's interesting because I read this morning on the news that the price of fuel is going to plummet now, and the cost of living is going to drop, and et cetera, overnight.
Very optimistic.
Just the volatility of it, that's all. I think it was
Very
more
optimistic.
I'm trying to land somewhere so that we understand if it's 13.5 or we end up with 18 million or it's 20 million or whatever, as long as there's no impost.
That's assuming it's attributable to the supply chain and the pressures.
Okay, and that's our business activity committee. They'd be overviewing that as well. Great. I'm happy. Thank you.
Perfect. Further questions? Okay, dokie. We will have our recommendation, which I should now find. It's probably that the report be received, but I'll get back to it. Sorry, I was scrolling through documents and looking at page 18. I think my question is probably answered on that. I just didn't see the issue around the payments from the airport as well. I'm going to go to yours. The officer recommendation that the report be received. Mover, please. Thank you. Councillor Davis. Seconded, Councillor McClintock. All in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you, Sarge. Thank you, Mark. We'll move to G4.4, which is our Community Investment Program, 2026-2027 themes. And I hand over to the Team Leader of Community Development, Jacqueline Urasa. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Good morning, councillors. I present the following report on behalf of the General Manager of Community and Lifestyle and the Manager of Community Partnerships, who could not be here today. This report seeks Council's endorsement of the proposed themes for the Microgrants Fund and the Connected Communities Fund for financial year 2026-27 under Council's Community Investment Program. Our community investment policy requires applications to align with council-endorsed themes. The themes were previously aligned with council's community development strategy. Following a review, the proposed themes have been updated to align with the new corporate vision or corporate plan which has just been adopted this morning and are designed to ensure funding supports key community priorities. The proposed 4 themes would apply to both microgrants and the Connected Communities Fund, and focus on connected and inclusive communities, local leadership and community capacity, sustainable and well cared for places, and community trust, participation and transparency. These themes will guide equitable and strategic distribution of funding and support strong community outcomes across the region. I welcome any questions.
Councillor Patrick.
Thank you. Thanks, Jacqueline, for that. Just so that our residents know, within these, obviously it's a theme change, but in the content of actually the investment, has anything changed? I couldn't see anything.
No. So
everything,
the policy
it's
is the
just
same and the guidelines
just the
are the
theme?
same, just the themes.
Excellent. Thank you.
I have a question. I think it's answered, but it's not written in there. Under the theme Connected and Inclusive Communities, I know they're micro grants, so there's plenty of opportunities for sporting clubs to apply, but fund activities that strengthen social connection and belonging, support inclusion, accessibility and participation. So I'm assuming sporting clubs can apply for that.
Yes.
But it just isn't included as an initiative, as an example of initiatives. So as long as I'm hearing loud and clear on the live stream for all to see that sporting clubs can apply, I'm happy with that.
It was back for as well, but yeah, it is included.
Any other questions, councillors? Can I get a mover then, please? Thank you, Councillor Churchill. Secondly, Councillor Patrick. All in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you, Jacqueline. Councillor reports. We don't have any written council reports that I'm aware of. Would any councillor like to do a verbal report? Councillor McClintock.
Just probably just to follow up to your mention in the mayoral address at the start is just a congratulations to Lifestyle Church, Pastor Aaron and Pastor Tazina, on celebrating 20 years. I was able to be there for the whole weekend and be a part of those great celebrations. Very well attended, but really exciting to look at some of the amazing things they've done within the community over those 2 decades, along with many volunteers that have been activated and attended things from festivals to backyard blitzes and helping people through all sorts of things that go unseen. So amazing leadership that has brought it to that point. You don't accidentally get any organisation to 20 years. It takes a lot of sacrifice and commitment, and I just wanted to publicly acknowledge and say thank you for the amazing work and all the best for the next 20.
Yeah. Councillor Churchill.
Oh, no, just a brief one more than anything. Some of us had the pleasure of attending the official launch of the park bench at the Boyne Island Skate Park. Oh, Councillor Cameron, Councillor Patrick. But Councillor Cameron, did you want to make reference to it?
Well, I was going to present the Mayor with a
Well, I'll leave it to Councillor
appreciation
Cameron. Thank you.
from the Boyne Town Tellaway Artscape, which we attended. There was Simon, Glenn, Leon and myself.
Thank you.
There you go, sir. It was run by a young man by the name of Noah.
All right.
He's a 9-year-old.
Really?
And so far he has won beat, but
Yes, he has.
very
Consistently.
Well, you should enter the Golding Showcase and get something for the Marty Hanson Awards.
That was mentioned.
You've mentioned that to him personally.
Encouraging him.
Yes. Awesome, thank you.
Right, great.
Any further questions? Yeah, council reports. Yes, Councillor Moss.
I just wanted to congratulate GEA on last week's Business Diversification Networking Breakfast, to which Economic Development Lead Christy presented. Well, she was facilitating a panel. So yeah, it was great to see all those businesses together and talking about the different opportunities that can present and how to make sure that we take advantage of them in a world that kind of keeps changing. So yeah, apart from that, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. No further council reports. I just want to say good luck to the Aussies in the World Cup. They've won one game, and I think the USA is next. I'm going to take them out. All right, so I'll declare the meeting closed. State of Origin tonight. Absolutely, we have to win that. We have tomorrow night. State of Origin tomorrow night. That'll be great. We should win that.
The winning team win.
Queenslander. All right. Declare the meeting closed at 11:38. Thank you for your attendance.